across Middle-earth.
Reading from J.R.R. Tolkien, The Silmarillion, Chapter 10 of the Sindar. Now, as has been told, the power of Elve and Melion increased in Middle-earth, and all the elves of Beleriand, from the mariners of Círdan to the wandering hunters of the Blue Mountains beyond the river Gilion, owned Elve as their lord. Ilu Thingol he was called, King Greymantle, in the tongue of his people. They are called the Sindar, the grey elves of starlit Beleriand, and although they were Moriquendi under the lordship of Thingol and the teaching of Melion, they became the fairest and the most wise and skillful of all the elves of Middle-earth. And at the end of the first stage of the chaining of Melkor, when all the earth had peace and the glory of Valinor was at its noon, there came into the world Luthien, the only child of Thingol and Melion. Though Middle-earth lay for the most part in the sleep of Yavanna, in Beleriand under the power of Melion there was life and joy, and the bright stars shone as silver fires, and there in the forest of Neldoreth Luthien was born, and the white flowers of Nefredil came forth to greet her as stars from the earth. It came to pass during the second age of the captivity of Melkor that dwarfs came over the blue mountains of Ered Luin into Beleriand. Themselves they named Khazad, but the Sindar called them Naugrim, the stunted people, and Gonhirim, masters of stone. Far to the east were the most ancient dwellings of the Naugrim, but they had delved for themselves great halls and mansions, after the manner of their kind, in the eastern side of Ered Luin, and those cities were named in their own tongue Gabil-Gattol and Tamhun Sahar. To the north of the great height of Mount Olmed was Gabil-Gattol, which the elves interpreted in their tongue Belegost, that is Mikkelberg, and southward was delved Tamhun Sahar by the elves named Nogrod, the Hollowbold. Greatest of all the mansions of the dwarves was Khazad-dûm, the Dwarrow-delf, had Hodron in the elvish tongue. That was afterwards in the days of its darkness called Moria, but it was far off in the mountains of mist beyond the wide league of Eriador, and to the elder came but as a name and a rumour from the words of the dwarfs of the Blue Mountains. From Nogrod and Belegost the Naugrim came forth into Beleriand, and the elves were filled with amazement, for they had believed themselves to be the only living things in Middle-earth that spoke with words or wrought with hands, and that all others were but birds and beasts. But they could understand no word of the tongue of the Naugrim, which to their ears was cumbrous and unlovely, and few ever of the Eldar have achieved the mastery of it. But the dwarfs were swift to learn, and indeed were more willing to learn the elven tongue than to teach their own to those of alien race. Few of the Eldar went ever to Nogrod or Belegost, save Aul of Nan Elmoth and Maeglin his son. But the dwarves trafficked into Beleriand, and they made a great road that passed under the shoulders of Mount Dolmed, and followed the course of the river Askar, crossing Gelion at Sarn Athrad, the ford of stones, where battle after befell. Ever cool was the friendship between the Naugrim and the Eldar, though much profit they had one of the other. But at that time those griefs that lay between them had not yet come to pass, and King Thingol welcomed them. But the Naugrim gave their friendship more readily to the Noldor in after days than to any others of elves and men, because of the love and reverence of Aule and the gems of the Noldor they praised above all other wealth. In the darkness of Arda already the dwarfs wrought great works, for even from the first days of their fathers they had marvelous skill with metals and with stone. But in that ancient time iron and copper they loved to work, rather than silver or gold.
And so, this new riddle finally revealed itself to me. The solution lay in Necron's name. In the Necronos alphabet, certain numbers corresponding to the letters of his name, aligned in accordance with black geometry, enabling us to walk on invisible steps across the silent abyss, reaching the other side of the game.
By all the gods of my Nordic lands, we are at the gates of death.
They were built with the severed limbs of humans and elves.
Under the orders of my father, Bankar.
I can feel suffering in every rock.
Listen to the silence.
That must be the Great Hall.
The unholy place.